All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Up and In Show. We are here in Cards and Culture on the Purple Couch, and I got one of my boys with me, Malik Antoine. Thank you, bro. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Of course.
You have like a real world job, and you got to go to work and stuff. So
Exactly,
we're here early,
man.
9 o'clock. Yeah,
I love that. I love that.
I appreciate the time and everything, dude. So let's get into it. You're a Baton Rouge kid, right?
Born and raised,
Born
man.
and raised.
Born and raised right here in Baton Rouge.
Yeah, but I love your story. You went out to Stanford and you played football out there, had a chance to go play in the NFL. We're going to dive into all this stuff and uncover that. It's going to be fun. But again, I appreciate the time. I know you have a new cool job that we're going to dive into too.
Yeah,
so yeah, thank you, bro.
Perfect. Yeah. Just give a quick background.
Yeah,
Born and raised here in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Went to University High School, which is a high school right on LSU's campus. Played football and ran track there throughout my whole high school. Was blessed enough to do decent in school, and so I was able to get a scholarship to go to Stanford. Went to Stanford in 2016, redshirted my freshman year, played a little bit sophomore year, and I was able to earn a starting job that year as well. Ended up being
That was your sophomore year?
Sophomore year.
Damn.
Yeah, end up being team captain for like my last 2 years at Stanford. So that was just a dope experience, just trying to lead those guys. It's a crazy group of guys, and I was played there, and just after that, just walked away from ball after that. But enjoyed my time at Stanford. It's a super dope time and super crazy school. Just being around those people and just that environment. But loved it, and wouldn't change it for the world.
Yeah. Were you always like a good student growing up? Like, was it instilled in you to get good grades and all that?
I think I was, because like when I was in class, I was always like super focused. Like I wasn't like the type of guy that went home and like studied for hours. People always think like, you must study for like 10 hours. I'm like, no, I don't. I just like when I'm in class, I like listen.
Yeah, you're like dumbasses. If you just listen, it actually works. Yeah.
Right. What's funny too is like, and then like that doesn't translate well in college though, because like the professors in college don't really teach you like in class. So I'm in college, I'm like listening, and like I get to the test, I'm like, this is not what we talking about in class. So like Stanford was like hard, like super hard for me, because I'm like, wait, I have to actually go out and study for hours and try to keep up with these guys.
That's crazy. No. But so you got good grades in high school. So
in high school, yeah.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, what's funny about Stanford too is like they kind of like put this like fear over you, like you make a C in high school, like you're not gonna have a scholarship anymore. Like it's like the admissions process is super stringent. Like they kind of tell you like, hey, you're admitted, but like bearing your senior year is bad. Like we can take this back. Like you hear some horror stories about guys that commit and like end up getting their like scholarship revoked because of that. Because I mean, obviously like Stanford's one of the better schools in the country. So it's like you got to just keep your A game up the whole time. Like you have to change your curriculum. Like everything in high school has to change almost, and then like hope like you work hard for like to not be the guy that kind of like has a bad senior year and just ruins it. But that was like my deepest fear. It's like I can't get a C in any of my classes.
I've done it for 3 years. I can't mess it up now.
Exactly.
That's crazy.
Exactly.
And your high school though, that's interesting. You said you went there in 7th grade, right?
Yeah,
but
so
it's a K through 12.
It's a K through 12 right on LSU's campus called University High. A lot of my teammates ended up playing college ball too. A lot of them went to LSU, like Nick Brosette, Garrett Brumfield. I went to high school with Dylan Moses also. Went to Alabama as a linebacker. So we're like a super stacked school. Yeah. Like my high school quarterback was Manny Miles, who was Les Miles' son.
Yeah.
And so like we had just a great team, great group of guys, and just like crazy, like all that molded into one. And we all kind of like take separate routes and do something different. So it was just really dope, man. That is. In that environment.
That's pretty cool. You guys have a good, like, U-High has a great tradition of sports too, right? There's some good NBA players from there too,
like
right?
you have like the Temples, Big Baby Gun Davis went to U-High. Skylar Mays went to U-High. Grew up with Skylar as well. That's dope. So it's just like a lineage of just great athletes. So the standard's always high.
Do they have any good baseball players from there? I'm trying to think who some of their baseball guys. Do we know? I don't even know.
I don't know. We've always been good in baseball, but I've never like known anybody like to like
that's what I'm saying.
Make it huge. But
I don't remember just from my time at LSU, like playing with somebody that went there. You know?
Yeah. It might just be my lack of knowledge of it. They have definitely somebody for sure.
Yeah, we'll have to look that up. Yeah, I should probably know that honestly,
right,
but
for sure.
Yeah, that's cool, man. That's so. Did you enjoy your high school experience? And we were talking earlier, right? Like you kind of know everybody, and you've been in that high school for so long,
right? That's what's like U-High is crazy because like it's literally like 100 kids, and like some of those kids are there from like K through 12, and so it's a super small world. But like I got there in 7th grade, and like really like none of your friends changed like through that whole time. So like everybody's super close, like. nothing's really secretive because everybody's business is out there, you know, because it's only 100 guys. But I did, you know, you kind of get like a really close, tight-knit group of friends, and those carried through your high school. It kind of sucked to me because, like, most of those people either go to LSU or somewhere in the South. So, like, I kind of like got cut off immediately when I decided to go to the West Coast, and not like purposely. It's just like when you're out of sight, you're out of mind type thing, you know. Like, so it was just, that was like really tough for me because I kind of lost a lot of my good friends because of that. But when you're in high school, it's just so dope just being around all those guys.
Yeah, that's crazy. So talk me through the decision to go to Stanford, right? I grew up in New Jersey, so I came down to LSU. There was a ton of culture shock. There was distance, away from my family for the first time. And I'm kind of like you. I grew up, my elementary school was super small, but then I went to a high school that was also super small. So I had the same group of friends, same, like literally same story. So talk me through that process, how, I don't know, football is different with scholarships and stuff. So let everybody know about that process.
So it was crazy because, like, growing up in Baton Rouge, like, diehard LSU fan. Like, everybody is. Like, well, most people are, I would say that. And so, like, I was no different. Like, I was one of the guys that I just adored LSU. Like, my time playing was, like, the days like Tyron Matthew, Patrick Peterson, like Eric Reese. Like, I'm a defensive back at heart. So like those are my guys. And it's funny, I was like scrolling through the TV one day. I don't know like what year this was, but Andrew Luck was on the team. So like this is when it's like one of the prime Stanford years. And I see them like an instant, I'm like, wait, they're number 2 in the nation. Like, and mom's like, yeah, this is also a great school. So like I kind of like fell in love with like researching Stanford. This was like at like say like 6th, 7th grade. I'm like researching Stanford. Like, I want to go to this school. And I kind of like spent like beginning of my high school years like super focused on LSU before that. But I kind of around like my sophomore or junior year in high school, they began like showing a little interest in me. And I'm like, wait, this is the same school from back in the day that I said I wanted to go to. So I think at the end of my sophomore year, I took a visit up there and like fell in love. Like, I'm in North California, like the trees, the weather, and like the Stanford's campus is like beautiful. Like it's always like 80, like sunshine, like no rain. And they kind of, the way they sell Stanford to you, like they can, like they go to base level, like it's a great academic experience. Right. And then you like, B, we have some great athletes. Like, was the coolest part about, another cool part about Stanford is like we kind of like win the Rector's Cup every year, which is like the college that like basically like has the most successful sports in whole. We won that because like we have like 30 sports. Like we have like fencing. like
you're winning all those. Schools don't even have that.
Exactly. But and so like we're around like some great, like one of the people in my freshman dorm was like Katie Ledecky, and like this is right after she just won like a gold medal in the Olympics, like breaking records.
As a swimmer, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And so like that's how they sell you. But I remember like when I went to the campus, I was like, yeah, this is my spot. So I ended up like shutting down my recruiting and committing after I got a scholarship like a few months later, because I was like, I just can't turn this down. Yeah. And so obviously it was hard, like trying to decide like leaving home and going to the West Coast. But at that point I was just like so sold on like this being a great experience for me that I had to go. And it wasn't super bad for me because I was blessed. They had 2 other guys that are from Louisiana that were there when I was there, and they both were defensive backs too. Yeah. One of them was named Terrence Alexander. He went to John Curtis. That's like a school in New Orleans. And one of them was Justin Reed, who's like Eric Reed's little brother.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And he's in the NFL right now, but he was already up there as well. And so like I was like, man, I have the Louisiana ties up there. It's a great academic school, great athletic school, and I just like I can't turn the opportunity down to just go play some good ball and kind of be around some great people.
Dude, I love that. So you committed your sophomore year of high school?
It's like going So I was like an early commitment. Like I was like I'm in there, and like that was tough too because like it's stressful now. It's like I shut down my recruitment and like so like I have to get good grades. I have to get in because so you don't want to be one of those horror stories like a guy like is committed and then like they can't get into school because it's still like obviously sports plays a different role as far as admissions a little bit, but like they still are super like intense on like who they let in the school. So
100%.
So it was like that was like super a fear of mine, but I was able to get in and I'm happy about it.
Yeah, hell yeah. That's what makes it so prestigious is they keep that level of whatever standard, you know, that you have to keep up with. Have you ever seen the movie The Internship by any chance?
I have not. I've heard of that movie.
With Vince Vaughn and Owen Wilson. It's like a comedy. It's super funny, but it's supposed to take place on Stanford's campus.
Really?
and it looks dope. So I'm like, I gotta know. I'm like, I always wondered, and I've always seen pictures and stuff. But so that's
it's super pretty up there, man. Just like it's like a almost a fake world. Like I just like because like from Baton Rouge, like we don't really see like mountains and like big palm trees and stuff like that. Like you get there, you're like, what is this? Like this is a whole different world.
Yeah. Was it Palo Alto?
It's Palo Alto. So, well, it's like Stanford's actually like its own city. Like it's called like Stanford's in Palo Alto, but Stanford, California is like where the campus is.
That's
so like
cool.
so like that's where Stanford is. Like it's in Palo Alto, but it's Stanford, California.
Yeah, absolutely. That's cool. And how many people go there? Is it a smaller school?
It's a small school, so I think they accept around like 1,000 to 1,200 students every year in undergrad. So like it's really like not more than 5,000 or 6,000 undergraduate students. So it's super small. Like so it's like almost like my high school experience again because like it's like a super small school, like not many people around there, and then. A big thing about Stanford too is like everybody rides bikes, so like you kind of like see this foot traffic of bikes like going back and forth to class, and that's like one of my most fun experiences too, because like we had like a serious like bike theft problem. So like if you left your
out
bike,
in Stanford,
you left your bike unlocked, like bike was going. Like I mean, I had horror stories like playing like a primetime game versus Notre Dame, coming back like body beat up, come back, bike is going. You have to like walk back to your dorm, just like head down. Like,
got your ass beat on the field or whatever, beat up. You're like, I gotta walk all the way.
Exactly. Like don't lose that game because that just ruins everything. But like there's some horror stories of that. But like, obviously it's a fun experience.
That is, man. That's cool. And this is different too, right? Like a kid that grows up in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, goes out to California. What were some of the biggest like cultural differences, or did you have any culture shock or anything like that?
Yeah, I definitely had culture shock. I think like the demographics totally different. Yeah. Like you see people of all types of just races, backgrounds, and everything. Yeah. I think that's like the biggest thing. Like when you just seeing so many different people that you like never seen before. That's a huge thing. And I think what Stanford too they do really well is like they like force you to like be involved with the student population in the sense where like your freshman year you can't room with an athlete. They kind of randomize your random. Like they randomize like your like living situation. So like my freshman year, I walked in. I was in. It's called a 3-room quad. More like a 3-room. Yeah. 3-room quad.
Sure, like so a common living area.
We have 2. Rooms. Yeah, we have like 2 in each room. Yep. And so I had 3 rooms. One of them was like Tarun. His name was Tarun, Javier, and Nico. Tarun was like. I forgot what city he's from, but like he was like dreaming of being like working for NASA. So like I walked in the room and like he has like these rocket posters on the wall. And I'm like, okay, what am I getting into here? My guy Javier, he's from Spain and like fluent Spanish and like just a different guy. And like Nico, he was like a computer scientist. Like he I think already had like an app on like Apple, like making money, like just that's like typical like random Stanford story, just like people doing some crazy things. So like that was super dope because like they force you like to instantly like be involved with everybody. Yeah. Because like once you like connect with those guys, you connect with all their friends. It was so crazy. It's like I was like super like just fascinated by their like lives and like you want to work for NASA like I'm terrible at physics and anything and like they were like, wait, you play football and like and like just like super fascinated with me as well. So that was super dope about it too because they kind of like force you to like be immersed in the student population, like not say, hey, you're an athlete, because like we didn't really have like athlete dining halls or anything like that. Like you're like eating with the students, like you're with the students. Like my freshman year, Christian McCaffrey was on my team. Nice, and this is like right after he almost won the Heisman, like great year. Like he would walk in like the normal population, like people didn't know who he was. Cause like he's not like a massive guy. So like he's just a regular guy, like walking around like my height, like not super small. And people like didn't realize like this guy is literally almost won the Heisman last year, like one of the best football players in the world.
That's crazy. If he was here at LSU, he would be like Joe Burrow. Like,
exactly.
That's crazy. Yeah,
exactly. But like, and like, it makes you humble, but also just like grounds you because so many people have so many different experiences, so many different backgrounds. So like, it's been all around all those people. It's kind of super cool.
Oh, I like that, man, because like a lot of athletes are bred to think that's all they're built for, right? Is like that's all you know, right? So the ability to connect with those students and learn about them and being forced to do it just makes your experience that normal for you, you know? That's really dope because, and for me, I came from New Jersey to Louisiana, and there were so many cultural differences that like shook me, like actually shook me, and little things like people wanted to welcome you into their house, right? Like, oh, I want to cook for you. I'm like, what do you want from me?
Right,
like, what are you talking about? You know, like people just come over.
Me.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, what am I going to have to do for you in a month? You know what I'm saying? Like, so like little things like that, but just the way that people got along and the things that were acceptable versus not acceptable here, you know, like different demographics. I'm like, oh my God, this is just, it's a different world for me. So I enjoy hearing different perspectives and experiences. And I love hearing that you got to be able to like just hear that from and live with those students, you know, because like it just makes you feel like you're not all just to be there for sports, right? Because I kind of felt like that was my life here. I didn't go to any, like interact with any frats. It was like baseball's your brothers. That's it. Like even
like you're here to play.
Exactly. Yeah. And it was even like there was rivalries between other sports. It was like, nah, we don't fuck with the football team. You know, like we had our boys that were cool, but it wasn't like we were all partying and hanging out together. It was almost like competitions. You know,
that's funny because like I think that's what like made us a little different as well, because like we mess with every sport. Like like I have friends with the baseball team, the women's basketball team, like the women's soccer team, men's basketball. And like for us, like it was crazy because like our like women's sports are crazy. Like our women's basketball team are like always in the natty. Swimming's always like one of the best in the country. And it's like, so we like admired those like it's like a mutual respect type thing. Like we like really admired like every sport, because like we know like you are like when you're a college athlete, you're there for the sport. Like your time commitment's crazy. Like you can't, like you can, but like it's hard to be like a human biology major at Stanford as well as playing football. Like your time can, like you have to manage your time crazy, like to do well in that. And so like you kind of like a mutual respect among the athletes. Like, hey, like I know you're putting in like 80 to 100 plus hours with sports, and then you're able to like go to school and like do well still. So we just like always had the respect for everybody that played, that was an athlete at Stanford.
Man, I love that. And I think it's changed a little bit here. Not a little bit. I think it's changed a lot of bit. When I was at LSU, like I said, there was that almost competition between people, and I think that social media changed that a lot. When I was in school, we didn't have social media. Like we had a little bit of Facebook and stuff, but I think that now that everybody knows each other, you know, and they see each other on social, they get along, like they have the dining halls and all the athletes, like they're cool with each other at LSU. And I think it's very similar. And like I said, I had a few of my boys on the football team, basketball, you know, but it was still like we weren't like as close. We were all doing our own thing. And that's one thing that I like regret about being at LSU was I wish that I would have done that, gone to more sporting events, supported more teams and things like that.
Exactly,
you know,
because
built those friendships. Man,
because everybody's just like super dope human. Like you when you're an athlete in college, man, like that life's hard. Like you're amazing in your respective sport, but like just being able to balance all that, like you're almost a superhero when you're a college athlete, because there's just so much going on that you're just forced to deal with and forced to cope with it, but also perform on the field. Yeah,
absolutely. Man, that's cool. All right, so talk to me a little bit about you're on campus now. You earn your starting job, and then you become captain, bro. From a kid from Louisiana.
Exactly.
Now you're just part of this. So you guys played in, was it the Pac-12?
Pac-12.
Pac-12. So you're just leading this team in the Pac-12.
So yeah, man. So I guess like a staple of mine when I first got to school was like I was like one of the hardest workers on the team. Like I just like made sure like, okay, we're doing conditioning runs. I'm trying to win everyone. And like I'm never leaving early for practice, but like just like my kind of motto was like, hey, I'm gonna earn respect in my position group first, like through my hard work, through my physicality, through like what I did in the field, and then like you expand that to the team, expand it to the conference, to nationally. So like I like worked my butt off early in my career to like just get that respect, because I was never like one of the like just a bigger giant guy. I was just always a guy that just put my foot in the pedal and just like worked really hard to be there. But yeah, so when I was captain, it's like the job of being captain is like not, it's like super like intense as far as the leadership role, but like you kind of like looked up as one of the guys, like, okay, when things are going bad, usually like what are you gonna say? Like what are you gonna do? And I was like blessed like to be able to like always be able to speak and like kind of like lead the guys. But it was just super dope just trying to like being a guy that people look to, like, hey, Malik, like it's fourth quarter, like we got to go, like let's rile us up, let's get this going. So that was super fun, like just being able to make plays with the guys and just always kind of like be one of the guys people looked up to was a super dope experience. I think I'll tell this story like of my last year, because it was like what tested like my leadership the most. Like my last year playing was a COVID year. Okay. So crazy all around. But I remember like everybody, we like got sent home in like early January, February of my last year. And so like everybody's at home like texting and stuff, like doing their own regimens, doing their own workout. like not knowing what the season's gonna hold. We kind of like one of the last, because like in North California, like they took COVID like as they should have, like super seriously. Yeah. In the sense where like they didn't want us to come back to campus. Like they didn't want football, any sport to come back to campus. And so we got blessed to like finally get to campus like late June. We got to campus and Stanford's closed, so they didn't let us stay on the campus. We stayed in the hotel across the street from campus, the whole football team. Like we're in literally one hotel for like, and like we all had our own rooms because we didn't want to the social distance. So like it's like we getting like tested every day, COVID tested every day. We're forced to like work out basically like in groups of like 15 guys, like in 45-minute increments, and like we just like trying our hardest to make the season happen. Right. And that time it's like hard to keep guys focused like when you're not a team. It's like you have freshmen coming in that don't really know you, like you're trying to lead, like who are you? I've never met you, because like that's summertime for athletes, for football teams, is serious, especially like that's when you like create your identity of the team, do your hard work, do your conditioning and stuff. Like we kind of had none of that. And if you don't remember, like Pac-12 actually canceled their season. Yeah. So we got our season canceled like during like towards the end of July, early August, where other teams are playing, like we're like watching like LSU play. Like,
oh my god! You know, so like, I do remember that.
Yeah. So we get our season canceled, and they're like, just go home. And so I choose, and like it's like I say, it's hard to like keep guys focused at that time. Like season just got canceled. Like everybody's like, it's time to turn up. Like now, we don't have a season. And so we get sent home, and so we get sent home. I like actually like drive up to Washington to like train one of my guys up there. And like 2 weeks later, Coach Shaw calls me. He's like, I think the season's gonna happen. We're like, we just had
all mentally checked out.
Exactly. And so we come back, like forced to come back super fast when other schools have been there still like training and stuff. Yeah. We come back, still the same regimen. Like we're in the hotel, we're freaking getting tested every day, and like forced like to make basically like a mini like 1.5 week of training camp. And like then right to start the season.
Oh my God.
It was crazy, like just keeping guys focused that whole time. It's like how you keep guys focused when you're constantly getting things changed. We can't even be around each other.
That's the biggest part.
Right. Like we can't be around each other. Like we can't even eat together. Like we have to like come in like to our dining hall every day, like get like these to-go boxes of meals. And that was so crazy about it. We get like to-go boxes of meals. We couldn't eat together, but we practice together every day. Right, yeah. And so it's like, what was going on here?
COVID rules were so crazy.
It's like you have to wear a mask on the sideline, but not when you're playing.
When you get on the field, you can't pass the virus on to anybody now. Yeah, like it's like I always think that's just so crazy.
Yeah, that time period was just like we got tested.
That was your senior year?
That was my senior year. Got tested every day, and like starting off the season, like we finally like managed to like get ready to play a game. Like we're playing the Oregon on ESPN, like our first game. Yeah, we're back. We're playing. So like how it worked was like you got tested like the day before the game and like the morning of the game to like make sure you didn't have the virus. So the day of the Oregon game, our starting quarterback, his name Davis Mills, he's a starting quarterback for the Houston Texans right now. That name, he tested positive for COVID the day of the game.
The first game.
So we had like a little captain's meeting. They're like, hey, do you guys still want to play? Like, I mean, your starting quarterback just tested positive for COVID. And like, obviously, we're not gonna be like, let's take it home and go home. It's like, we play the game and we lose the game. We don't have our starting quarterback for his game. So like, we're like, why are we doing this? Like, if you can, like, cause like that was the fear. It's like that if you tested positive for COVID, like the day of the game, like all that week of preparation, then like you have to miss the next 2-3 games.
I was just gonna say, yeah.
And so what's crazy about it is, so the next week, like, it's funny, like nobody else tested positive for COVID, just our starting quarterback. And so like we're like, what? So
that's kind of shady.
Yeah, very shady, very shady.
Some conspiracy shit. Like I'm like, I don't know. Damn.
Right. And so we end up like getting him like retested like every day, and he's negative every day after the game.
Literally, just that one test before the game.
It's positive.
That's bullshit.
Exactly. And so he misses that game, and
Oregon paid some people. Oregon found somebody that they needed to pay.
Exactly. That was just crazy because like we didn't have any positive cases like our whole time training. Because like we're literally like isolated. Like we're just us. Like only way you got like exposed is if you went off and did your own thing, like while we were training. Yeah. And so like that was crazy. As soon as we get to Oregon, like we get a positive test.
And then doesn't test positive again
the whole time. And so like we end up getting it cleared by like the Pac-12, like the Friday before our next game, that he can play.
Was he working with you guys all week?
So him and another receiver were the only guys that tested positive that game. So like him and another receiver were like their social distance. They were kind of only ones like being around each other at that time.
Yeah.
So the Friday, like we literally had our Friday practice. We left the field. We're like coming out to like go home. We see him and the receiver like practicing together, like warming up basically.
Yeah.
Because they had no week of practice and like they're practicing on the Friday night before the game and to play on Saturday.
Right, yeah.
And so that game, we play on Saturday, lose that game because like
you didn't have your court, we work with them. Yeah,
exactly. And so finally like our third week, like we finally like get in the groove. We're finally playing well. We have everybody practicing and stuff, win the game. And like Stanford, the Santa Clara County where Stanford is, they said like there's no more contact sports in the county.
What?
So
3 weeks or 4 weeks into the season?
Three weeks into the season. So we are literally like we had a big meeting as a leadership like council, like as a captains, like do you guys still want to play? And so we decided like, hey, we still want to play. So we had to like bus to the next game. Like this is crazy. It's like crazy. We took like 10 buses and we bused to Oregon State.
Oh my God.
We bus to Oregon State and literally stay there in a hotel there like a whole week. And then we play that game. Oh my God. Win that game. And like they said, we can't go back home. So like what's crazy about like you see like the commitment and sacrifices. Like the coaches basically told like all the coaches, all the training staff, all the equipment staff, like basically like you're going to be gone from your family for 4 to 5 weeks because we can't come back. Like once we leave and start these games, like we can't come back. And so like we're literally on the road for the rest of the season, like busing to Washington, bus to back to like Santa Barbara. Like it was just like crazy. And like that was one of my favorite experiences, my favorite year because like we ended up winning all those games like on the road after we're staying at hotels. Like we don't have a facility. We're practicing in high schools every day, like lifting at high school, practicing at high school. Like it's a crazy experience. Like so we end up winning those games. That's just so dope for me, like to see like after all we've been through, after all that adversity, like we were able like to come back and still play some good ball. That's one of my favorite
as a leader.
Yeah, exactly.
That's dope. And that's like tip of the cap to you guys too. Like a lot of other people just canceled their, just folded, like you said, and like just like the people asking you if you still want to play the games and.
Right.
Dude,
we fought through it, man. It was hard because like so we got tested every day, like twice a day. Like it was like crazy, and like we didn't have any tests after that. Like first, like Davis got popped that first game. We didn't have any positive cases. We ended up like just fighting through the season and ended up playing.
I feel like people hated on athletes or I shouldn't say hated, but like maybe we're jealous that athletes got to do stuff like when the NBA had the bubble and things, right? Like all these different things. Like, oh, they get to do stuff. It's like, do you understand what these people are going through? Right. The girl that I was seeing at the time went to the Olympics. She was getting tested 4 times a day.
Right, exactly. Like you have to sacrifice to play those games. Like obviously like we did everything we could to like not expose ourselves, but like man, we're getting tested every day. We're like you can't really like work out and train like you used to because you can't be around each other outside of playing. Like they basically like the rule was like basically if you're not on the field, you couldn't be around like more than like 3 to 4 people. Yeah. And so like training was different. Like there was no really like workout regimens. Like you couldn't really do much. You had to wear a mask all the time and couldn't eat with the teams. Like super like isolated like environment for a whole season. And like I said, most teams were able to fight through that, work through that, and play. And that's super dope to see like during that time where like everything was shut down, that we found a way to like make that happen. Yeah,
that's like the athletes that went through that shit, like especially if there was their last year of school, like blows my mind. That's like remember all the when the NCAA tournament got canceled. Can you imagine being a senior for that in the basketball? You play your whole 4 years and like wait, what? That's what's canceled? Like you just take that from me?
Like I think it was like right before it like started, right?
Right before it started.
It just canceled everything. I was like
psych. Man, yeah, like that's
super tough. Like and like we had a like playing with no fans, like that
crazy.
environment. Like I remember I got an interception one game. Like I like stood up and I'm like
what?
Like you like the roar of the crowds that makes it like that much more exciting. It's like when you get an interception, like it feels like practice. It's like like your teammates are hollering, but like just walking back to the sideline, it's like, what just happened?
It's not the same experience at all.
Like, not at all, man.
The Olympics, they had 0 fans. Like not one person. Like they would try to simulate crowd noise and stuff, but you're like, bro, that's not the same
this
thing.
Is weird.
Yeah, that's terrible.
Super weird.
Man, that's crazy. I was gonna ask you like how COVID affected your career too. Man, that's crazy.
Yeah,
that's nuts.
It was definitely like tough, and it's a tough way to go out just because like you missed that fan, you missed like the team experience, the fan experience. It's like
senior days, and
exactly. Like, and I don't even. Yeah, we we couldn't have a senior day because we were on the road the whole time.
That's right. Yeah. Oh my God.
So we couldn't have like a senior day like or anything because I literally like our last 4 of the 5 games we're literally playing away games and just hoping you don't test positive for COVID.
Yeah, right.
Because then the season's ruined. Like and then if you tested positive, like they couldn't fly you back home. Like you'd have to stay in that whatever you like. If you were in Washington, like you would have to isolate in Washington by yourself
and
for
then
2
come
weeks.
like go meet with the team afterward.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that sounds like a nightmare.
Yeah,
like an actual
absolutely.
nightmare. Holy shit. Well, I'm gonna let you roll here in a second, but I want to ask a little bit the last 10-15 minutes. Yeah. So that was your last year, right? Then now you had a chance to play in the NFL, right?
Yeah. So after that, kind of got home, trying to get myself like recouped and like body back right. So I started training for the draft. Decided to declare, and like we all had the extra COVID shit, but I'm like, man, I just kind of went through the ringer. Like it's time for me to get out of here. So I'm training and stuff, and I ended up getting like this bad sports hernia, and like I was trying to like fight through it, trying to run on it. I just couldn't. So I ended up getting the surgery, and after I got the surgery, I just wasn't the same. And so that kind of like pushed me into like hanging the cleats up, and definitely like people don't talk about it enough, but like retiring and like stop playing your sport as an athlete is like a super hard experience because like you don't want to put all your identity in sport, but like it is like your identity because 100%. like 90% of your time is spent doing this. Yep. Like for probably like I started playing football when I was like 4 years old. Yeah. And so like from 4 to 23, like it's been football. Yep. And so like just deciding to like walk away from that was just a tough experience. And so I was like I said, I decided to walk away, and after that, like you're in the world. Like it's like, what do I do? Like I always tell my friends, like when you leave college, it's a crazy experience because for the first time, like you don't have a path. It's like you're in high school, middle school, high school. Like there's always like a runway. Like I know exactly what I'm about to do next. Because now it's like, okay, what do I do? And I'm sitting here like I have like my undergrad and master's at Stanford. So I'm like, this is gonna be easy. It's like no, it's not really easy. It's no, like you have to find a job, find something that you enjoy, find something you're passionate about, or just like start somewhere because like everything's a learning process. Like you're never gonna be the same person you were from like when you were a freshman in college or like a senior. It's like I was just like on the path like to find out who I was and like learn about myself. And so ended up coming back to Baton Rouge. Getting a job at a private equity firm, which I work at now, and just started my learning process just in the regular corporate world.
Yeah. Nice. What did you major in and get your master's in?
So I majored in this thing called management science and engineering. Okay. It's like this business finance degree, and I got my master's in communications just because I was like didn't want to be a super like math and finance geek. I wanted to kind of like mix it up with a little bit of communications, like arts type degree. So I was able to do both of that while I was at Stanford.
That's super dope, man. So talk to me, like we're gonna rewind a little bit, but that transition period it's something that I'm passionate about talking about because I definitely went through it. I think I still go through it. You know what I'm saying?
Like you're never done. Like I'm watching football. I'm like, man, let me go back.
Exactly, right? Hey, I'm still watching baseball, and I'm like, I think I could do this still, man. Exactly. It's crazy. It is, and like you feel like, and like you said, it is an identity. It becomes an identity just by way of life. 4 to 23 years old, I was same thing. 5 to 29 or whatever that I played. That's a long ass time, and it's like your friends, your family, the way of life, the way that you spent money, the way you traveled, all these different things are just literally ingrained in you. So talk to me a little bit. I don't know, again, if you don't want to dive in too much, but who were some of your like people that you leaned on? You're close with your parents? Like were they big for you there in that time?
So I had like a wide variety of people I was talking to at that time because like A, you're hearing something different from everybody. Yeah. But B, like, you're just confused because I remember like when I was like trying to train and come back after my surgery, I'm just like, A, I don't feel the same. Like I'm just like terrible timing for me. Like how can this happen? Like at all times. Right. Like I never had like a crazy like injury.
No other injuries?
Like I had like obviously like a tore my AC joint, like ankle sprains and stuff like that, but nothing like crazy where I could just sideline me for a long time. And so like that time I was just like kind of talking to everybody. I was talking to my former coaches, talking to like my pastor, talking to my parents, talking to some of my mentors like growing up, and like they all kept telling me like you need to be at peace with whatever you decide. And like that's like a weird thing to say because like you're never gonna be completely at peace with it. Like I don't care like what decision you make. Like you're still gonna like you're gonna always like doubt what you did. It's like trying to alleviate as much of that doubt as possible. So it was, I mean, super tough time. Like I was like kind of back and forth for like 3 months. Like this wasn't like a quick like I decided I'm not playing anymore. I was like 3 months of like training and like going back and forth. Like I was like 3 months of like just in lingo basically. Just because I didn't know like what I wanted to do. And so just that time, like I was blessed like to have a support system that I could talk to, but it still was just super hard to make that final choice. Like, hey, I'm gonna walk away. And I think that's something like for athletes too, is it's like to understand like that's not gonna be easy. Like, like I don't care where you are in your career, like that's never gonna become an easy thing when you transition. Like even if you have like this luxurious like 10-year professional career, like when you decide to hang those cleats up, like
shit, it might be harder after that, you know? Like,
right, exactly. like it's gonna be a tough thing, like because like you said, like your identity is built in the sport a little bit because you just spend so much time, so much energy, like how everybody knows who you are, and so like just trying to find yourself after that is done is like on. Like I'm almost 2 years out now, and I'm still like watching my old teammates play, watching Stanford play, and like, man, I can go back out there. And do that. Like I'm never like completely like, oh, I'm done. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I'm always thinking like, that I'm one phone call away from getting back in. You know, and
you're still so young.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Like, I mean, like, what, 25?
About 24 right now. 25 this year. Crazy. So like I'm never like completely like out of it. Like well, I'm just like completely. So it's like always like every day is a process of like diving deeper into yourself, like trying to find peace in yourself, like trying to find out who you are as a person outside of the sport, but and like not like completely like saying, hey, I'm no longer a football player, because you still are. Like that's what made you like as far as discipline, work ethic, like and just who you were. Like it created almost who you were as a person. So like I never want to completely like disattach myself from that world because it still like made me who I was for such a long time.
100%. That's awesome. And I think one of the big things in that time period too is like, that's why I was asking about your support system, family, mom, dad. I don't know who you're close with, you know, significant other, but somebody showing you love, you know what I'm saying? Exactly. Or people or a support system showing you love, being like, it doesn't matter that you're not this football player, this athlete anymore, right? Like we love the human, and like we're here for you no matter what. So I think that's really important.
Yeah, you definitely need that, because you said like you can like get into your own self and kind of like crumble a little bit because like there's so much like going through your head at that time, or like just like thinking about different possibilities, different outcomes. Like you need people like to be there, like to stabilize you a little bit, because like I said, it's never gonna be a point like you're completely at peace with it. I feel like, but like as long as you have people like around you that kind of like mold you and like take care of you and keep your mind right, I think you're fine. I had one of my best friends, teammates. He's a cornerback for the Saints named Paulson Adebo. He was a guy I kind of like called like every day, because like he's like living it still. Like he's like in the league playing for the Saints still. And like he always gave me a good perspective, because like he knew who I was as an athlete, but also who I was as like deeply as a person, as well as how my work ethic. And he was like, Malik, like you're gonna be good wherever you decide, because like your core isn't gonna change. Like if you were like a super undisciplined person, like you didn't work hard, like then I'll be worried for you then. But like who you are as a person, like that's gonna help you out throughout like whatever you decide.
Man, I love hearing that. That's a good friend. That's a good dude right there. And it's probably why you got this good job, and like, you know, and you're going to have, I'm sure you had people, you know, or other opportunities and things like that. And as you grow as a man and you do well in this world, like you're going to have a lot of people knocking on your door because of that discipline, because of those things that were instilled in you.
Exactly.
And stuff, you know?
Exactly.
You like your new job?
I do. I think the hardest part is like the environment is so much different. It's like being around athletes all day, like in the locker room, is just so like intense and fun. Like something like we don't talk about like a lot is that like, man, the athlete world is just such like a dynamic and like fun environment. So like now I'm wearing like dress pants and slacks every day, and like it's like you're like a different person, like just like off the what you're wearing. And so like I enjoy my job, but the environment is just so much different. It's so much different. That's like the hardest thing to change. Is like you still don't want to change like who you were as an athlete, like your swag, like who you are as a person. So like every time I finish work, I like instantly getting workout clothes, like, put my J's on, pull out my other clothes back on, because I think like that's like the hardest part too, is like realizing that like you're a different person because your environment's changed too. Like now my environment is no longer like locker room talk around the guys. Now I'm like in meetings every day, you know, like I'm wearing a suit and tie every day. It's like, that's what's hard about it. And my job right now is I work at a private equity firm. So we have like $1 billion or so of assets under management. And we are supposed to deploy that into small businesses. That's cool. It's like, when you talk about that, like that's like a super exciting thing. It's just when you get down to the granular details, like that's just a less exciting thing of like numbers, finance. And so like adjusting to that was definitely difficult for me.
That's funny, man. I love hearing that. But you'll learn it just the same way as playbooks, you know, like whatever it is in school at Stanford and all that shit. But it's funny you say the environment thing, because I think that was my biggest adjustment is like I got back here and it's like I can't say the same things, talk the same way. Like you're working, you know,
lingo changes.
Yeah, a lot of changes. Yeah, so it's like, but it's all putting feathers in the cap, right? Like building different skill sets and stuff. So you just learn how to adapt and be able to mold into different, you know, different people.
That's what's like. What two people don't tell you too is that like when you leave college, like you're like when you're in the world, it's like you're a freshman again, like in everything you do. Like even though like I worked hard, made good grades at Stanford, like when I got to my new job, I'm like the dumbest guy there again. Like you're back to like low, because like no matter how much you worked in college, like these guys have like 5-10 years of experience of you. Like it's like saying like if I'm a high schooler and I go to the NFL, like I'm gonna be as smart as those guys. Like it's like that's not what it is. It's like coming in, like you're like back to like being freshman, like bottom of the totem pole. Like you have to work your way, and like now this process is actually harder because like some of my coworkers are like in their 50s. So like it's like the thing that I'm gonna catch them in a year is like impossible. It's like every day is literally a learning process for me. Every day I'm like getting a little bit smarter here, getting a little bit smarter here, and like like I said, like not getting too overwhelmed, but like that bigger picture of like if I want to be in this industry, if I want to learn more, it's gonna take like years now. Like it's gonna take years for me to learn more. It's like you can still work your butt off, but there's nothing like time. Like, like me now compared to when I first started, I'm a totally different person in the world just from being around like it so much. And like my lingo is changing, knowing like small acronyms and stuff. It's like, like just like knowing little things like that. That's like when I first got in, when I was in the fire instantly, like I'm like deer in headlights trying to learn new things, trying to understand what's going on.
Bro, that is an incredible perspective to have at 24. Just like the concept of time that you're saying.
Right.
Bro, when I was 24, I was just made it to the big leagues and I thought I should have been there for 5 years already. You know, like I was so entitled and arrogant of like, I need to be there now. I need to make my money now. I need to start doing it, right? And it's like, no, motherfucker, like you got your whole life. Like zoom out a little bit, have some perspective. So for you to be like, you know, not go into this job and be like, I'm going to be the best in a year and just have that perspective to be like,
I was like that at first.
But it taught you right away, right?
Like, I was like, wait, this guy has been doing it. Like he's literally been doing my job for 20 more years. Like let's be real with yourself here. Like there's no way that you're going to be able to like amass as much knowledge as he has like in a month. Like it's like, not even a year.
That's amazing perspective. I'm telling you, because I was doing the same thing. I was a 24-year-old kid and being like, I'm better than that 36-year-old that's up there. And it's like, no, motherfucker, he's pitched 14 years in this league. Like, no, you don't. It doesn't matter how good you are, how whatever, like how up and coming you are. There's nothing like experience and time. Like that's, I don't know. That's what I feel like I'm learning now. And I can take what I learned in baseball and apply it to business, right? I feel like some of my employees are like, wait, it's all right that we're not like, you know, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, it's a big picture. Like we're building. So it's all right. Like we're learning right now. We're a new business. We're a new company, small fish, you know, like big pond, like big picture stuff.
Like I feel like that's like a different like talent and skill. Like I think like you can say like I knew like instantly like I'm better at this than this one guy. Like as far as like my talent in certain areas, like just naturally like having certain abilities. Like you know that guy you playing sports just super fast. Like some people are just like born with like some crazy talent, but like the skill that you build like from time, just an effort and doing the same thing over and over and over. Like that's what the big difference is. Like you have like guys, when you do things for a long time, you develop a skill and like things that like took you like hours to think about or do, like now it takes you a minute because like you've been doing it for so long. And so like I think that's like the difference between like the thing you realize that like you want to build skill, like, that's gonna take like hours of diligent practice and diligent time, and it's gonna take a lot of effort on your part. It's like it's not gonna be okay, I do this for a day and I'm good at it now. It's like nah, you're gonna take like you learn the playbook for ball, like it takes like I remember like when it finally like clicked for me, like at the end of my sophomore year in college, when I was like, now I get it. Now I get like why he's moving that way, why he's doing this. And so like, you know, when you first get on campus, like for football, like you read a playbook, you're like, what is going on? And so you're just like, I'm doing my job. It tells me like to backpedal and turn this way. Like I'm gonna do that. And it's like no, like understanding the big picture like took me like a year and a half, 2 years. So like going into like this professional world now, it's like understanding the big picture is gonna take me a year and a half, 2 years to do on a small scale, but like on a bigger scale to like learn all the concepts, like that's gonna take me a long time to understand.
Dude, that's a great perspective to have, and you are set up. I'm telling you, I'm not like I'm crazy much older than you. I'm 8 years older, but still, like to that ability, the person that you are, the competitive world that you were in your whole life, to have this perspective is pretty profound. So it's pretty cool to sit here and have that conversation with you. And man, I would love to do this again. I feel like we could talk for 5 hours, bro. Like this was fun.
Everything.
Yeah, exactly. But thank you for the time, dude. I'll let you get back to work. And
of course.
But yeah, definitely come back and see us, and we'll do this again. That was fun.
Sounds good.
Appreciate it.
Like I said.